Hello,
Hey,
Michael.
Chris. Yes, this is
Hey,
Michael.
hey. Hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Outstanding.
Well, how are you? Welcome,
I'm wonderful.
welcome to the show, Michael.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, guys. Just a little intro. Michael, you own a gun shop and you have your own classes too. Besides you're a veteran yourself, we should thank you for your service. Um, that's did I get pretty much everything?
Yeah, you got it right. Central Texas Gunworks is the gun store, and we do a lot of different classes. We do beginning handgun classes, concealed handgun classes, level two, level three, private security courses.
All right. So before we get to that, can you tell us a little about yourself?
All right. I served 12 years in the Army. After getting out of the Army, I worked for a telecommunications company. Then after that, I uh, owned a trucking company. And then after that, I started the gun store.
Wow. So you were running for mayor, right? Of Austin?
No, I was running for city council.
Ah, city council. So well, can you talk about the campaign, even though it's not active anymore, but like what it was? Can you talk about?
Right. The city of Austin was going to a 10-1, meaning that they were going from just having at large council members that are running in the entire city. They went to individual sections of town where they would have one person representing a particular area of town. So we went to that system. And so we added more council members. And since we're doing that, I decided to run for office.
Oh, so how did that go? Were you elected?
No, it didn't. That didn't go too well at all. I'm
Ah,
the city of Austin is not a pro Second Amendment city. It's a very liberal city,
oh,
and I'm a Second Amendment individual, so that
ah.
didn't go too well.
Yeah. Oh, so you're like you were like almost alone, I think, because I've even heard you
Exactly.
I've even heard you on the Alex Jones show at one time, and you were I don't know if it was a few years back. You were talking to David Knight, and you were actually in studio, and you were talking about a campaign, and you're like one of the only few guys to run for office that, like, to my knowledge, I've seen. You have your own gun shop and you teach classes, etc. And
Right.
Texas is a gun state, so
Right.
it's
Texas
pretty
is a gun
ironic you
state,
were.
but not Austin. Austin is not a gun city.
Alex is from Austin himself, so did you talk to him?
Oh yes, I've talked to Alex a couple times.
Oh, so I'm sure I'm sure it's ridiculous, and he would also agree. It's ridiculous how Austin is like you put it. I think you should have been in the city council because like yeah, to promote individual freedoms. Second Amendment. I'm very pro gun myself. Unfortunately, I'm at the north where you don't have guns, so it's not so much gun friendly up here. But like
Mm,
yeah,
yeah,
but
I hear you.
so, hopefully in the future you'll run again. So how is it like in the army exactly for you personally? Can you talk about
Oh,
that?
the military was fine. It's something I decided to go into the military because I was 18 years old, just graduated high school, and I wasn't really sure about what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And the military was just that option. And so I decided to join the military. And I did that back in 1987. And I got out of the Army back in 1999. So I was, served quite a few years in the military. I got out just before George Bush, became president.
Mm.
And I decided to get out then because I knew I just had this feeling that we were getting ready to get ourselves involved in something. I was like,
Yeah,
man, let me get
thanks
out of
thanks
this,
to good
out
old
of here
Bush,
now.
unfortunately.
Right. So, and
And
that's how that ended.
the military is wide awake though. That's the thing. But unfortunately, they cannot do that much. I've been told on air, off air, that the military is wide awake. I've been told by veterans, yeah, the military is wide awake, but and they're also some of them are even hit with RFID chips or anything of a sort similar. And they're active, and some of them and like any kind of mutiny or that would the army would actually do, they would like shut them down immediately. So like there's hardly anybody in the military who could stand up. All we have is our generals are saying, yeah, we are funding ISIS, but what more are we gonna get? So unless all hell breaks loose, we're not gonna get much from the army or military in general, and they're very awake. So I believe we're all like sitting ducks in the Middle East, in the Middle East in general, overseas, but the homeland is under attack.
Mm. Well, the military. For one, we have, I think, the best military on the planet.
Hmm.
But they will do, the structure, that the way it's set up, they will do as they're told. So.
Yeah, and even if somebody, and there are good people in the system in general, but like even if somebody would be a yes man, the moment they have to do something, that's where their conscience is gonna hit them. That's what I think. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
but
And you would hope that people would do the right thing.
yeah. By the way, do you know in your perspective, how are things going on military? If you know it,
What do you mean?
yeah, what's the status of the military now? Because like all we hear is in the news, but what exactly is going on that the media won't say? That's the thing. Like unless you're active or know someone who's active, you really won't know.
Yeah, you would actually have to be in the military to find out what's really going on, because I noticed when I was active duty, what was being, you know, what was actually happening, around the world was not necessarily what was happening where I was stationed. So, I mean, let me say that again. What you hear on the news wasn't really what was happening in reality. It was a totally different situation. So I was stationed in Bosnia. What was going on in Bosnia wasn't really what was going on the way the media was reporting it.
Yeah, and speaking of Bosnia, and Hillary's like, oh, she claims she was being shot at, but like, there's no proof of that. These are liars, like. But like, what are we gonna do? Like she lied about Benghazi. She lied about being shot at. She claims she was being shot at. Brian claims it was some kind of he was being. I think he was claimed he was being shot at, or a helicopter, or something like that. Even though that was actually fictional, that wasn't the case. That was not happening. But like some people I've talked to, like they would be like, yeah, I was in the Air Force, and fortunately I didn't have to kill anybody. I was stationed here and I had to do this and that. But like everybody's all over the place in the military. So you're right, actually. Unless you're in there, you wouldn't really know. Cause like, were you in Bosnia and then that's it, or you had to just keep going, like uh switch around places?
Now, I've been quite a few different places.
Oh wow. So like was it like was it like 4 years? I think you had to. I don't know how. You said you served for 12 years. After
Right.
that, you just came home.
I was actually in the Army for 12 years.
Oh wow. So after that, you just came home.
And I've been stationed at quite a few places. I've been stationed at quite a few places here in the U.S., and then some other places um, outside the U.S.
Wow.
And like I said, this was before. This is like 1987 to 1999.
Wow.
So this is
It's
before
completely
nine
different
eleven
though.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, like 9/11 was like the bomb that like really like it's what really set most things off recently.
Right.
You,
Correct. In the eyes of the American people, yes.
So I've heard of some stuff like the draft that might come back, which actually the draft they actually want us to go into war and be even more sitting ducks. We're actually being shot at. We're funding enemies that we're fighting, and so now we're gonna get innocent men and women, and they're gonna go and get killed, but nobody in Washington gets in trouble, which is asinine.
Yeah, I can't see them being successful in reinstating a draft right now, especially the way information is, and the way that
Yeah, things can get
we have
viral.
we have all the different little social media outlets. So I can't really see them really being successful in
Why
doing
was
that.
why was the
Actually getting,
draft stopped though?
huh?
I'm not a war hog or anything much, but why was the draft stopped exactly?
I'm
But
not sure. That's going to be way before my time.
oh, so I guess like maybe the conscious hit them probably. So they were like, yeah, let's just let's not have mandatory men and women being drafted into war, and that would last for a little, maybe a decade or two or three.
Right.
Mm. But
I-
so because it's, you think in your or in your own perspective that because of social media how information is, which that's actually true, how it can get viral and you don't know when. So that's why it'll be hard to get the draft or for it to succeed very long.
Yeah, it's hard to control a lot of things, and that's why the government's now trying to go to net neutrality and
Net neutrality, they're trying to
trying to
take over the
control the
internet.
internet.
The guy wouldn't
Right.
testify in Congress. They wouldn't release the pages. They wouldn't let Congress see them, and nobody's
Right.
indicted. That's the problem. And
Right.
while like
A lot of that stuff is going to go to net neutrality, with the government trying to pretty much control the internet and what happens, because they can see, you see with a lot of different incidents, something happens on one side of the world and the media is not covering that, but then
of course.
it blows up in social media, and
So,
so
so
then the media is forced to cover it because it's on the web now.
so as far as that, what exactly is the SEC doing? Because like I go online and I feel like the internet's the same. It's something about like cable internet or something like that. What exactly is supposed to happen? Because I'm logged in online, I log in, but like I don't see the FCC like damaging web pages. All they could do is just like downgrade them, but I don't see the FCC doing much. What exactly is this net neutrality in the SEC? Because I see the internet as fine for now.
Right. Well, it's the name net neutrality. It sounds like a nice little friendly name. It doesn't sound like anything which what it does. Mainly, it's the way that the government can actually somehow get in there and tax and try to limit the internet and the freedoms that we have online and through the internet. So, at one time, you didn't have to, for example, you didn't have to pay taxes for your home if you bought a house. And now all of a sudden you have to pay property
And
taxes
that
on
and
that
that's
home,
going right
even
to the
when the
people
home
that
is
are
paid
looting
for.
the country, and they're
Right.
taking control of
So
everything.
now the internet's going that direction. They're trying to get in there so they can figure out how to make money off of the internet, something that's free and that's out there. They're trying to figure out how to tax it, how to charge you for it, by so much that you're using and everything. And once they're able to do that, if they can control, your usage on the internet, that controls a lot, because now we're so dependent on the web and the World Wide Web and getting our information.
Oh, so basically, certain sites will be blocked, and you'll probably have to pay to see certain stuff or access.
Exa- exactly. Or you
Oh.
may be limited by the amount that you can surf.
And also, it's possible that it could be like in China, where you would have it would like they would ban you from the internet or something like that. That's also a very probable here.
Yeah, it's basically going to be the government taking over the internet and turning it into a regulated commodity. So they're going to start regulating it like they regulate everything else.
So, and the FCC is not in trouble as any other agency in general, but even the FCC head, he knows it's a stupid, dumb, horrible idea, but he's not indicted. Is there any way they could indict him? Like,
That I do not know.
could Congress try to stop this in a way?
Well, that's one thing that needs to happen. People need to contact their congressman and to let their congressman know that they want the internet to remain to be free. And I don't think people understand.
People don't know much about it. Is that the wording is
Right.
so bad and so sophisticated? They use all kinds of language, and if a bill's into law, people could try to look up what a bill is and what the law is. It's like 14 pages or 100 pages, and the wording is so advanced. The average Joe cannot see what does net neutrality mean. It sounds like a good idea or this and that, but the person's not gonna understand this, so they're not gonna care.
Yeah. Well, if they don't, the internet is going to turn into a beautiful realm of free thought and expression, into a public utility, is what it's going to do. It's going to be like, you're having to pay, your water bill. You're going to have something that
A
there's so much water
crazy
on this
stuff on
planet.
that is that you have to have a permit to have rainwater in your own home.
Right.
I've called people and they confirmed that yeah, you have to, and that idea is so stupid, man. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it's just one of those things. People don't be careful. They'll be charging us to pay for the uses of the
They'll
sun.
charge us to breathe.
Yeah.
It's just
Exactly.
and and it should, and I've like one of my ideas. I'm sure it's not new or I'm not the first one. Spam everybody that's in Congress. Have everybody call them. You're not calling for violence. You're not swearing or anything. You're not threatening. But call them and tell them no, we will not stand by it. Have everybody do it. Because speaking of this, something similar is uh Common Core and Park. I don't know if you've heard of the Park exams,
Hmm.
and I've been told that yeah, a lot of parents are getting mad, and even she didn't like the idea, and so I'm like, why don't you have everybody call the legislature? And I'm sure it's not just where I'm in, but like, why don't you just have everybody call them in a way, annoy them until they listen?
Right.
But
Exactly.
like, how are you gonna get more people to do that though? Unfortunately, because all you like very few people could list will probably do it. Some of them will
Hmm.
probably do it, and or maybe will just not care. I don't know.
Right.
But
I hear you. And people, we just have to wake up. We need to wake up and
yeah,
like you said,
yeah.
back up our
What will
legislature.
it take? Will it take Would it take some random person killed by cops? Would it take forced inoculations? Would it take a lack of individual freedom? Would it take a banning, disarming the people, attacking the Second Amendment? Would it take a race war or race baiting to get the people to wake up? Like, I'm not wishing those things to happen, but if those things were to happen, that's just gonna fire everybody up.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that. Because there's this poem. First they came for the socialists. First they came for the socialists. I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for
Oh,
me.
of course. Like, even if you don't agree with them, you don't agree with the political party, but you have to speak out for them.
Exactly.
Whether you're Christian or atheist or whatever, no matter what color you are, you have to speak out for the people. Even though you may not belong to that particular group, you have to try to speak out for them because one day you're gonna need somebody to speak out for you.
Exactly.
You have to come
Exactly.
together. So I hope people could wake up soon because I predict that a few months stuff is gonna hit the fan, and some people even told me, yeah, it's in a few months, get out of there, you know.
Oof.
Yeah, and like, but and I'm here, like, I'm in college. I'm a freshman, so like, do I have to like stop my whole education? Like, everything's gonna be interrupted. Education, employment, entertainment, sports. It's all gonna be interrupted. You're gonna see mass protests, etc. So like, and someone even told me off air that things gonna get crazy, and you're not gonna be allowed to get out. So it's better just leaving the U.S.
Oh wow.
And that guy, if it wasn't for someone in Washington, he doesn't even know who. He doesn't even know who, and other he would have stayed in jail. Uh, and they basically like kidnapped him from somewhere in South America. They kidnapped him, and unfortunately, he's back with his wife and family. So it gets crazy how. And recently today, I heard there was a congressman who was tortured, something called diesel therapy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, his feet exploded. He's too ill, and yeah, and this was because he wanted to abolish the IRS. It was George Hansen, and but nobody talks about it though. The the media refuses to put it. The media, they're afraid to lose their jobs. Congressmen are afraid to be tortured. Like, I think like everybody in Congress has to like has to arm themselves to the teeth, arm themselves to the kid, till there's no tomorrow, till they cannot arm themselves anymore, get their families out of the country, and try to do their job.
Right.
Otherwise, we're gonna take away their job.
I
And
hear you.
and I'm sure you've heard recently about this ammo ban, which is a complete stupidity. The ammo
And
ban.
and luckily now that the ATF is now backing down from
Yeah, of
that.
course, because what's gonna happen if we try to take people? It's like trying to take a candy from or a toy from a kid. What would happen if you try to take away a toy from a kid? They'll go after you.
Right.
So what do you think the status is of the ATF now? Because on the bright side, in the Marine Corps, they're allowing you to choose your own weapons. But I wish that everybody in the military could bring home any rifle they have or assault rifle. They could bring them home.
You mean like Israel?
Yeah, or Switzerland. They let you bring your assault rifle that you use in combat. They let you bring it home. Why can't we do that?
It would be nice.
Yeah,
I think that would definitely solve a lot of different problems. That would actually solve some problems. When you see something, say something, you report something, and if something does happen, you do have your firearm and you can actually stop it. So
so,
I
so,
think that all
so
plays in that, and that's why Israel. A lot of things are foiled in Israel
it's
because of that,
you
and
have to
people.
have a weapon there though. You have to have
Right.
it's a law. Couldn't you keep your any weapon used in combat? I don't know if you use a rifle or a pistol or whatever it was.
No, you're not. No, whatever the firearm that you're assigned when you're in the military, that firearm gets locked up, and you only use it. You only get access to it if you're going to go practice or something like that, or if you're being deployed. You know,
And you can't bring it
into
back.
it.
You can't keep it. That
No,
sucks.
you don't. You don't keep it. Throughout the day or whatever. It gets locked up.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So that's how that works. Yeah.
So,
So
would there be a way to change that though? Because I wish you could keep your own weapons.
that it. I don't think I can't see the military changing that anytime soon.
Hmm.
I'll be shocked and surprised if that does happen, but I just don't see that.
I don't get it. How they not let you and you have a gun shop, you have gun classes, you're certified, you know how to use guns, etc. But they won't let you have 'em. Well, they say have the rest of your gun shop. Nobody's gonna
Yeah,
try to rob you.
and that's why we try to educate people on what the laws are, what they cannot do, and then try to empower them also to contact their legislators where you can get even more freedoms, which we shouldn't have to ask for, but that's where we are. So to get them, like today, there's a group of people going to the Capitol today to try to get some things done there. Today, the Texas Senate it is actually looking at. They're looking at concealed carry on campus, being able to carry inside of a college building with a concealed handgun license. Hopefully that will get passed today. And then also they're looking at license open carry because here in Texas we cannot open carry a handgun. We can only open carry a rifle or shotgun. So we're hoping to get open carry passed in Texas, and so that's going to go to the full Senate today,
Oh
hopefully
wow.
for a vote. They should be debating that right now as we speak, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, even in Switzerland, I've seen like two girls on a bike. They have their assault rifles like with them like backpacks. We
Yeah,
can't do
and
that
I don't
here.
call them assault rifles. It's an automatic. There's a handgun, semi-automatic handgun. There's a semi-automatic rifle. So I don't use the term assault rifle. That's something that the anti-gun community came up with, and that's not a word that I kind of use.
And the thing is, the ATF limits the weapons because I wish we could use an AK-47. I don't want to have to use an AR-15. My favorite is AK-47,
Well, you can still use an AK-47.
but
You just
semi.
can't get the AKs that are coming in from like Russia. But you can
Aww.
get there are other AKs that you can get that
But why
we can
why
still
can't we
get
get
our
them?
hands on.
Why can't we get them? You think the people who launder drug money don't do the cocaine? You think they wouldn't have these guns themselves? Come
Well,
on,
the reason that we can't get access to the Russian AKs is because the president signed an executive order um,
oh, of course, good old president.
prohibiting them from coming over from
Which
overseas.
president? Obama, right? of course.
Right. That's
Oh
correct.
yeah, good old Obama. He's a it's not so much of a puppet, but he's a post turtle. Someone told me the term. You know, you have no real power. You're just standing on top of a stick. Have you ever seen the post turtle is? He just likes the view. You just get the view, and you're just sitting on top of a stool or something. You're not doing anything, but hey. But I would like to try all these because even in some people are actually getting prepared for anything. Like there's all kinds of militias. If you look in the video, Vice Second Revolutionary War, there are people who are training in militias. They have it's like they have their own. It has a they have they're similar to paintball, but it's basically their own arenas to practice, to train each other, etc. But
Uh,
yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it.
No. Hmm. And then also we had this little thing where you have your some of your different legislators are trying to come up with little laws now that would charge citizens with
Oh man.
crimes to where they can't film the police.
Oh no. But when there's a lot of fights outside, the media's gonna take that, and that's gonna have to change. Cause what will be the what's something that's gonna fire it up? You know, what will fire everything up? You know, you're not doing anything, but what's gonna happen that's gonna make people want to do it? Because you can only take so much, but when you're pinned to the wall, you're gonna have to fight back eventually.
I hear you.
Oh yeah, it's called America's Second Revolutionary War, by the way. So the video, whenever you can, just try to see it. There's a small snip of it, and and it's basically some the vice staff interviewing a bunch of people. You get to hear Alex Jones from time to time. You get to see a bunch of people training,
For the Constitution and defense of the Constitution. You know,
and there's all kinds
we
of
know what this is all
rallies.
about. We know why we're here.
There's all kinds of rallies. So whenever you can, check it out, Michael.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
So when it comes to before we get to that, talk about like how your classes work, because you own Central Texas Gun Works,
Correct.
and I saw the website. Like it's awesome. I wish I could go there myself personally in the future, which I probably will. Um, so how do the classes work? Because like I've only seen like guns like they're using videos or they were using cartoons or anything like I've seen like anybody using a paintball, but I never actually tried it. I only like pretend, but that's not the same. So what would you what's your best your own perspective for first timers?
I would have a first timer take a beginner class. The beginner class, we actually teach them, everything about the handgun. We teach them how to take the gun apart and talk to them about malfunctions, how to hold the gun, and then we take them out to the gun range and actually have them shoot and perform everything that we talked to them about in the classroom. So I would definitely do that first, the beginner class. And then after that, if they like to, they can take a concealed handgun class or a firearm safety course. The firearm safety course, what we do in that class, we have them shoot two different types of handguns. They
Oh
also
wow.
shoot an AR-15 and also a 12 gauge shotgun. So it gives them a good experience of a couple different types of firearms to fire and what they feel like. And that class is actually popular for the bachelor parties. It's also popular for bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, and birthday parties and stuff. We get people that actually will travel to Texas. They want to enjoy Austin, Texas, and so they'll come. They want to actually shoot guns as well. They'll come shoot some guns, do the firearm safety course, and then go on downtown to get drunk.
Uh, I wouldn't use my gun if I were drunk though.
Well, they
Oh
come and
boy.
they do the firearm safety course first, get that out of their system, and then go downtown. That way, they all the fights out of their system.
Mm. But I'm sure they would have to drink maybe after, because I don't think you could. It would be a good idea to be drunk and use a gun.
No, they don't. They don't drink before they shoot. They come shoot first, and then they go downtown and get drunk.
Oh, 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 that's like fun. Even though it's pretty pricey, like almost maybe $60 for a class.
Yeah, and that includes the gun and the ammunition and everything.
And you,
Oops, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
uh,
Yeah,
so
so that includes the gun and the ammunition and everything.
so wow, some classes like you have to pay more, as like there's ones just like around 65 maybe.
Yeah, you have your concealed handgun class, which is $65, and that's getting the concealed handgun license, being able to carry your handgun on you concealed and walk around with it, going grocery shopping, going throughout your day. And that class is it's like 4 to 6 hours long,
Whoa.
and we talk to them about all the different laws, what they can and cannot do. Talk to them about different scenarios. Show them a lot of different videos. Talk about gun safety, what not to do. We show them some videos of what some people have done that injured themselves, and then um, we they get a there's a written test that they take, and then we take them out to the gun range, and then they shoot and qualify to make sure they're proficient on the firearm.
Wow. And by the way, you ever heard of bulletproof clothing?
No, I have not heard that.
There's this company. It's from Colombia. It's called Miguel Caballero, and uh, I'll have him on like in the next week or two or so. It's a bulletproof clothing company based in Bogota, Colombia. It has outlets in Mexico City and Sao Paulo, where basically it manufactures bulletproof clothing, and it's really good. You know, you should check it out, and maybe if you want, buy from them. You know, they even test it, and it's like nothing. It's basically you dress like casually, and and you know you won't get hurt.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure how much it costs though. But you should at least check it out. MiguelCaballero.com.
Oh, wow. Okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as classes, eventually, so it's all by step. So the first one you would have is beginner pistol class, and you go from there.
Yeah, and then it's really, the beginner pistol class really just gives you a foundation. And then we also do private one-on-one classes. In the private one-on-one class, we can do anything in that class. So, okay. Sorry about
So,
that phone again.
uh,
Yeah, so we could do like a private one-on-one class, and with the private one-on-one class, we can get you anywhere. We can do the basics with you, the little advance or whatever, so we can get you anywhere.
oh, nice. So, and there's also the advance eventually.
Right. And that's to get you uh, shooting. Drawing the gun from a holster and shooting. Maybe moving, shooting, and moving. So
Wow, that's awesome. So, exactly, what is the gun culture in Texas? What makes it so unique? Like in the country, why can every state be like Texas when it comes to gun culture? I was gonna get to
well,
that.
and honestly, I don't think Texas is as gun friendly as people really would think.
Oh,
Because
really?
you cannot you can't open carry a handgun here. So we're not that gun friendly. We do have our concealed handgun license. Most states do. A matter of fact, every state does except for one have some form of concealed handgun license. Um, it's just that I think we're at a point right now. We're fighting for more firearms freedom. We're probably
Yeah,
doing it more so than any other state.
bring in the guns. So you think that's gonna change as far as concealed carry? Eventually, you'll have open carry, and so what's the status in Texas? So are things going to change, etc.? Because I would think Texas is the most gun friendly, but I didn't realize that I would be wrong there.
Yeah, yeah. To me, it's not going to be the most gun friendly. You have Georgia. Yeah, Colorado, you can carry on a college campus in Colorado.
Wow.
You can't do that in Texas. So, which as of for right now, so there are other states, that like Washington State has constitutional carry, Arizona has constitutional carry. Constitutional carry means that you can carry openly or concealed, and you don't need a license for it. And Texas is not a constitutional carry state.
And the thing is that in Washington D.C. or in Virginia, obviously where the capital is, they you cannot have guns there for obvious reasons, I guess. So I've been told yesterday that back then there was shooting ranges on the school property. Back then, in like maybe in the 70s, there used to be shooting ranges, so you could actually have guns in school technically.
Well, yeah, ba- back in the 70s, 60s, or whatever, they also had firearm safety courses in schools where they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you got the picture. Back in the 1950s and even later, many high schools had shooting ranges. Students even brought their own rifles to school. What changed in society that we could trust such activities then, but not now?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what changed and what brought this fear of firearms on. And then I know it's the lack of education and the fact that we're not, we don't do a little more, firearm training and
We
different
have to, like,
things. We get these kids. We
In
got to get kids
Pakistan,
out
women
from
are
behind
women
the.
are being trained. The teachers are being trained in Pakistan how to use guns, but here, it varies depending on state. Where I am in, you can't have guns whatsoever. We got to change that.
And what I think we should do is, to get people out, away from the computer, from playing different video games and stuff like that. Really, especially the men. We're actually going to water down our society and weaken our men, and we're, down the road, if we do not, experience that warrior that's within. So if we don't get out there and actually experience that and understand that you're a male and there are certain things that you want to do as a male, if you suppress those feelings, then that's when the crazy stuff comes out and people do stuff when it just explodes and they can't control themselves. It's like puberty. If once you suppress it, and all of a sudden they just can't control themselves because all those emotions, and they just explode one day. So
Yeah, and here's another one. The difference between high school in 1970 and 2015. This guy nails it. It's from youngcons.com. Scenario one, you go quail hunting before school, and where you have a shotgun in the gun rack in the truck. In the 70s, the vice principal would come over, look at the gun, and he would have his own gun to show Jack. In 2015, the school would go on lockdown, FBI called, Jack goes to jail, never sees the light of day, counselors calling for traumatized students. It's bull, man.
right, I hear you.
And
I hear you.
and one from conservativedrink.com. It's something about a Pearl MS shooting. And a 16-year-old kid was stopped by assistant principal Joel and using his 45 pistol. So the gun-free zone law did not stop the guy. The laws actually could increase crimes. Gun laws increase crimes. More guns is less crimes. And people don't understand that. They think I'm right. They try to put me through these guilt trips. They think that it's cop killing, it's armor piercing, anything will kill you really. And so then I have to deal with that almost every day basis. But an armed citizen with a 45 pistol, yes. We hear this in the mainstream media? No. See, that's the thing. You can actually prevent a shooting. Now, as far as Sandy Hook or a bunch of other shootings, whether Sandy Hook happened or not, uh, in general, you need to have guns. You need to train the administration how to use guns. You need to teach the students. Because I even see it in Switzerland, a few images where people, you see some like, they don't even look like teenagers, and they're in the gun range. Only here, if you're a southerner or you're a redneck, you would have like the average. You're very southerner. very southern, you would see that. But how come most people don't do that? Is it like society changed people's mindset about how old you could be able to use a gun?
I hear you. Definitely hear you.
What's the youngest age one could use a gun? Isn't like maybe 15?
It really that's really going to be up to the parents. It's up to the parents to decide what age they think a child should be able to fire a firearm. And as far as being able to own, being able to be in possession of one without an adult, you'd have to be 17 years old or older in Texas, and it's going to vary from different states. As far as the federal government says that you cannot purchase a handgun or ammunition for that handgun until you turn 21 from a gun store.
That's like saying that's like marijuana where it's a federal law. Apparently, we cannot have it. It's 99% of the country wants it. You have to find a way to change the federal law on that one because they don't want it to be like Uruguay, which legalized all of marijuana. I think we should find a way to change that law for have more guns, teach the younger people how to use guns, but maybe not give them a real gun. But I mean, come on, there's Nerf, there's paintball, whatever's appropriate. I think you should be able to train them. That way, when they get older, they know how to use guns. So it'll be no biggie. But that sounds just nuts itself. But like, what do you think like society should do?
As far as
Yeah,
as far as
yeah, like training like any like younger people how to use guns, but
well, that's going to
for
be
for
that
little
that
kids there
that's
could be like a toy gun. You
I
know
think that's going to be up to the parents. It's up to the parents.
that's the problem. You have to change the mentality of the parents. You have to not you're gonna change them. You have to encourage them to think outside of that. You got Eric Holder
And
saying,
honestly, a gun is not for everyone. So that that aspect, I have to draw the
mm,
line and say, well, that's going to be up to the parents, and that
I
they're
would
going to
say
they will have to
that,
decide
yeah.
on that because a gun is not for everyone, and not everyone should have one.
Ah,
So
I think you reminded me on that one. Here's Eric Holder brainwash people. He says we have to brainwash them.
I've also asked the school board
I also asked
to
school
make
board to make part of every day
some kind
some
of
kind of
anti-violence,
antivirus
anti-gun
anti-guns.
message.
No,
Every
no,
day,
more guns,
every
less violence.
school, at every
In school
level.
at every level
One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is
is
that
we
we just
have
have to be repetitive
about
it's
it.
not enough to simply have a catchy ad
catchy
on a
ad
Monday and then only do it every Monday.
every
We
Monday.
need to
We
do
do
this
this
every day of the week and just really
brainwash people into thinking about guns in a very
vastly
different way. I had to deal with this nonsense from people, even people I know. Unfortunately, like there has to be a way to change society. It's getting ridiculous. Every time I would like I wouldn't even say, I would like to learn how to use a gun one day, and my parents act like as if I'm gonna rape someone. That's the reaction. That's the reaction I get. I'm sure you've dealt with a bunch of this over there, maybe. But do you
right.
do you change people's minds though? Cause like even somewhere.
And honestly, I don't try to change anyone's mind. I actually try to educate people because a lot of
Mhm.
times people that are in the anti-gun community, their perception of what the laws are and what we can and cannot do are usually wrong.
Yeah, they
So,
claim that there's
for
a
example,
law. You cannot use
for
a gun,
example,
but you can.
yeah, for example, people that think that CHO holders should not be able to carry inside of a building of a college campus. Well, they actually think their terminology is they don't want guns on campus.
Oh
But
boy.
what they don't understand is right now, as a CHO holder, I can actually walk all the way through a University of Texas campus, right now. I can walk all the way through that campus with a gun on me as long as I stay on the street sidewalks, walkways, parking lots, and garages. So once I tell them that, then they're in shock. They're like, "What? You mean tell me you can actually have a gun a handgun on campus right now?" It's like, yes, I just cannot go into the building. So when you start breaking down the law to them, I just educate people. My job is to educate you so you understand what the laws are, and then you go from there. And usually when they sit in my class and we break it down to them, they understand it a little differently.
And you could also take anybody who's anti-gun, but some of them would have open minds. You could take them out to shoot, and maybe they'll be good shooters. You know, even Alex Jones has done this. He's taking a bunch of celebrities and anybody who's anti-gun, you know, take them out shooting or hunting, and they probably changed their mindset in some cases, which is good. You know, they actually hated guns before. Now they start to be like, yeah, maybe this guy's onto something. Maybe we shouldn't hate guns, because in reality, guns is gonna save people's lives. And if you don't believe me, look up that video. People's lives saved by guns. It's around almost a half hour long, but you see people save their lives over and over. Not that it makes you want to cry for joy almost, but like you see how many people's lives are saved. You see one guy who's able to intercept like 6 or even up to a dozen people. He kept shooting at them, and his store was saved. His life was saved. Another one where his family was threatened by his robber, and he just shot the guy, and the robber just ran away. Also, another one where 2 robbers run away, and he's intact. So, you know, there's other one where this woman was speaking out. Yeah, no matter what your position on gun control, you gotta watch the video where the woman, you know, I believe I saw a video. She was being robbed, and she probably didn't have a shotgun, and she's like regrets it, I think, or something like that.
Is that the one? I'm not sure which one that was.
Oh yeah, gun control -- no matter what your opinion, you need to see. And this is a little snippet of it. You need to see this. It was a gun violence prevention.
Anj?
Gun control does not work. Your own
And this guy's
history
saying
is
gun
replete
control
with,
doesn't work. And you don't believe it. The guy is Asian too.
high school
So just put gun control, no matter what your opinion, comma, you need to see this. It's from Michael Savage Show Updates, Me Alert channel.
rifle teams.
And he's
Boy
saying
Scout.
that. And
Some people have asked and called the AR-15. They called the AR-15 a weapon of mass killing and customs enforcement agency.
there's one where also this guy,
Now, who
who's an
needs
army
an
vet, takes
AR-15
3
with
minutes
30
to destroy Obama's gun control plan. And here's one sheriff, David Clark Jr., who warns that there could be a revolution if there's gun control. And there's another video, gun control. Watch what happens when guns are banned. So let's see what life will be like without the guns, you know?
Around mags,
Yeah,
that
the
question
public
has also
hearing
been
was in
brought up.
Hartford. It was a legislative office building. It was a gun violence prevention working group public hearing.
To put forward the conjecture that had the 10,000 students at Tiananmen Square not been unarmed, things may not have resulted in so many of them disappearing.
Around 3 minutes, he's saying that in somewhere in Tiananmen, if nobody was unarmed, they would have never been so many dead people. Because if you can actually teach somebody, whether on campus or inside school, you could teach them how to use a gun. If some nut tries to shoot everybody, you're gonna get him, or a group of people. Come on now. But people don't wanna be enlightened. That's the problem with people these days. You know.
I hear you. Absolutely.
So you saw videos I was trying to tell you, right?
Uh-huh.
I told you I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. So and people are like, yo, Chris, some nut who's probably making this up. I'm not making it up. You can look up everything I'm telling you. So like, how can we change? Like, educate them? Not necessarily change, but educate people in the North, especially. Because even people, people in Hispanic community, and you know, I know a bunch of Hispanic people myself, but like Alex said, time to time, the illegals are gonna come, which are mostly Hispanic. They're gonna come vote to take away the Second Amendment.
And that's why I continue to do what I do and educate and continue to conduct my classes, because I think education is the key, and people will eventually make up their mind and realize that they want to be free to do what they want to do, and they don't necessarily need or want the government to regulate every single part, and area of their life. So that's why I continue to educate.
So, how long have you had your gun shop? By the way, did you have it as soon as you came back from the army, and ever since then?
No, I did several different industries, and then eventually I opened up the gun store.
Was that like a few years back? Cause I never heard of it until I heard of saw a video on Alex Jones show. So I wouldn't know exactly when like was it a few years ago? Was it the 2000s? Was it?
Yeah, it's been over 5 years.
Oh wow, nice. So cause like I love guns myself and I don't even own one, and I'm up here in the north where it's not so much gun friendly. So I wish people could change their perception on guns. Some people like them because of the video games, you know, and people act like it would have like a heart attack. Parents if they see their child even pretending to use guns, kids getting suspended, expelled for a Pop Tart shaped gun, for making a gun with their hands. How much are we gonna take this? I'm sure you heard of that story. The fifth grader who was suspended for having a Pop Tart shaped gun. Really?
I hear you. I hear you.
How do you deal with it when it comes to people? So many are saying anti-gun, and they're really smart people, and they're like, yeah, guns are this and that, but like they sound like they're right, but Second Amendment, it's you have to have guns. That's why Switzerland has a low crime rate, and people are like, we're not Switzerland. If you don't like it, leave. But no, I'm not going anywhere. We're gonna have to change this country because we have to take this country back. I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully, and nobody should force you to put you into some kind of submission or guilt trip, if you know what I mean. Because people guilt trip you. They think that, oh, it's about the kids. If you love children, if you care about children, and on the worst case scenario, if you are a teacher, whether you have kids of your own or not, you have to be careful what you say in comments. If you're very pro gun, they would think like you're a criminal automatically, and you could probably lose your job or worse. So like,
Right.
what can you do about
I'm
that?
absolutely right. And I'm running a little late for a meeting, but I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
It's really up to people. They really have got to participate in our legislative process. We only have we have like millions of people in this country, but and then out of those millions, we have a very low percentage that actually are registered voters. Out of those people that are registered voters, we typically will only have 15%, 20% people that actually come out and vote and participate in our legislative process. And that is going to be what the problem is. We actually took a stack of petitions to our legislators here in Texas about open carry. And I remember one particular area where there's a libertarian candidate running for state representative in this particular area. That area had the biggest stack of petitions,
Whoa.
but then only 10% of the people actually came out to vote, and that libertarian lost big time. If all of those people in that stack would have um, actually came out to vote, that libertarian would have won that race,
Oh,
and then
so that
that
means
was
he was missing
very
voters.
disappointing.
So most people voted against
No,
him, which were
no, they didn't
anti-gun.
know. Most people did not vote. They did not vote, or they were not registered to vote, and that's what's sad. People talk. They talk on Facebook. They talk on Twitter. But when it's time to go to the polls and go vote, people do not vote, and that's why we cannot get some of the things done that we need to get done. And I'm actually running late
Oh,
for a meeting.
oh. It's not. I apologize. Before you go, what do you want to say to all the listeners out there?
And,
Before
and and that's the main thing. It's up to us. People say they want to take this country back. Well, you
you
know
don't want
what?
it back.
I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Show me. Go to the polls and go vote. Make
Vote
sure
with
you're
our
registered,
dollars.
and then make sure you hold your legislator accountable. Uh, make sure they're doing what you want them to do. Just don't talk about it. We can't just talk about it online on Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and places like that. We have to actually act on it. Because if we do not act on it, then nothing's going to change. And they're going to continue doing what they want to do because they know you're not serious about holding them accountable.
All right. Thank you for being on, Michael. Hopefully in the next few months I can get you on again. And over there, if I'm ever at Central Texas Gunworks, I really want to try this out.
Alrighty,
I
sounds
encourage
great.
everybody.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No
And on
problem.
behalf of my staff at Central Texas Gunworks, I wish everyone a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Wow. To think it's a hard topic, we'll talk about guns and all that, but on the contrary, it's very simple. And we should be able to have real change and come together. And I understand some people have opinions, but it's important to come into reality, because if you want low crime, you have to have guns. Teach them how to use it. Don't just give random nut jobs guns. But teach people how to use them. If you educate them, they'll know. In some states, they're actually wanting to have uh, part of the curriculum teaching you about guns, just like they use with sex ed. Which I think it's a awesome idea, because I think you should teach the kids what a gun is, especially if they're in states where it's legal to carry guns, and how much they want guns. So what's the legality? Are they very lenient when it comes to guns, etc.? It's important for everybody to know. In general, we got to educate people, and hopefully we'll have more guns in this country, and it'll be the whole population, because Switzerland proportionally has more guns than we do, because everybody has guns there. No ifs, ands, or buts. No excuses. No dilly squat. They have guns, period, and you get in trouble if you're not prepared for action. So hopefully, back then it was a third of the population, then now it's 2/3, and hopefully it'll be the whole 320 million, and into the future we need more guns coming to the country. So come on, people, let's go. Go out there and educate them, talk to them about guns, take them to shooting ranges, hunting, etc. So let's go enlightening people.